Welcome to the 2018 GT350R. Alright, I'm sitting inside my 2018 GT350R Mustang, and as you can tell, it's very loud, and it's very fun. But at the same time, there's a few issues that I found in my time driving around in this thing. Actually, there's like 9 or 10, and I'm about to tell you about them right now. There are a lot of things that I really love about my GT350R. I've had the GT350R for a couple weeks. I've been able to drive it, and I'm probably going to be a little picky. This is, just to be clear, this is the first Mustang I've ever owned. It's not my first Ford. I've had two Gen 2 Raptors that I've been able to play around with, and there were some amazing things about those as well. And Ford, I feel like, is really coming up as far as making more unique vehicles, things that really inspire you to get in and drive again, like, you know, the 350R and of course the Ford GT. However, there are still some things I feel like quality control that are just little simple things that have been overlooked. Just little details that I feel like if Ford took an extra hour or two sitting in a car, really playing around with it like an owner would, and maybe getting more customer feedback before they put something out to the masses, I feel like a lot of these complaints could be resolved. So I'll go ahead and start with the first thing that really annoyed me about the 350R, and that is that this car has 19-inch carbon fiber wheels that are just incredibly light, amazingly awesome. They look incredible. And the Ford GT also comes with black wheels as well. And the one gripe that I have about the wheels is not the wheels itself, is that Ford thought it was a good idea on a black wheel to use chrome lug nuts. And my car in particular is black, the wheels are black, and the calipers are red, and the chrome really just clashes and goes against the look of the car. It's not a huge deal, but to me, it matters. So I've already gone ahead and put black lug nuts on my car. I did that over the Christmas break. Black lug nuts. See how much better that looks? You can see just how that little detail can make such a huge difference. So that's just really my first complaint. It's not a huge deal, but it is slightly annoying and it does bother me. And I had to spend, you know, these black lug nuts you can buy from Ford Performance, and they also come factory on the black wheels on the Ford GT. From Ford Performance, I had to spend like $200 on lug nuts. Not crazy, like if you buy them from Porsche, it's like $300. I feel like black lug nuts look so much better. I feel like I'm going on a tangent, but I'll just end that there. On another note, I'm just really comparing all of this to my friend came by. I'm at his shop doing this video and he was making weird faces. I've also, the past few years, gone through some other cars too, and that's why I'm really holding Ford to a high standard. And I don't expect it to be perfect, but I've had in the past 3 or 4 years, probably in the past 4 or 5 years, I've had a McLaren 570S. I've had 2 of those. I had a Porsche Cayman GT4. I had a Signal Green 911 GT3. I've had 2 Nissan GTRs. All of them had their little kind of random quirks. As a first Mustang owner, I'm going to be a little picky again. So that was my first gripe. On to the second. This is annoying, and I think it's a quality control issue. Is the handbrake, when I undo it and I put it down, it doesn't really go down all the way. The leather that goes from the handle to the center console, the top part of it is stretched too tight, and so there's about an inch of play when I put it down. And as you can see here, I can just kind of push on it. It's not the most inconvenient thing. it just annoys the crap out of me. That's all. I think if I can get into the console and maybe loosen it a little bit, that will fix that problem. The third thing that annoys me is the shift knob. The shift knob is awesome. It matches the car perfectly, but when I put my hand on it, it's actually slightly loose. I can actually turn it about an inch, almost an inch to the right, and then it's perfectly tight. So if I have it all the way straight, where the numbers and the lines are perfectly like where they're supposed to be, it's loose. So that's slightly annoying. I don't really know how to fix that yet to make it all the way tight when it's straight. Maybe someone out there has a solution. I'll probably play around with it a bit. The fourth thing that is actually a big oversight by Ford, and I know they tested it, or maybe they didn't think about this, but a lot of times when you go to the car wash, if you have someone else washing your car, to clean the windshield and dry underneath it, they'll lift up your wipers. Now, that's normally fine. Lifting up the wipers is not a big deal. And on other Mustangs, other than the 350 or the 350R, it's perfectly fine. But if you lift the driver's side wiper on a 350 or 350R to detail, it actually, the midsection of it will hit the hood. And what's been happening is a lot of owners have been saying that they not sometimes themselves or sometimes people at car wash lift it quickly, and it actually puts a chip in the hood. So to even lift that wiper, change your blade or anything like that, you have to turn the car on, put the wipers in vertical mode, and then you can lift the wiper up to change the blade or clean the window. Now, most places you wash your car, they're probably not going to pay attention. They're going to end up chipping your hood, and it's going to be annoying, and you'll probably have to deal with it after that. Another complaint, this is just a personal preference, when you open the hood, everything is like nice and black and just looks amazing, and then you have this big, giant, ugly, half clear, white coolant tank just staring at you right in the face. And it just looks like kind of crappy, and there's other solutions out there aftermarket that you can buy, like aluminum or things like that. I feel like Ford could have just done something that looked a little bit cleaner. There's even covers you can buy that are black, and maybe put a slot on the side of it where you can, see the level. That would have been cool. One thing that's super frustrating is I like to get in the car with my seat all the way back or get out with it back. And when you slide it back forward, the seatbelt loop that holds it in place, the magnet is very weak. So just the slightest brush against it or the slightest tug will pull the seatbelt out of that loop. And so when you get back in the car, you scoot your seat forward, and then you're reaching for your seatbelt, it's way back there, and you can't really get it with your other hand. You have to kind of fish for it back here. Okay, so the seatbelt just unlatched. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get back in the car, and then you'll see how it's kind of a pain in the butt to grab the seatbelt once this thing's gone loose. So we'll hop in here, and you'll see, like, I gotta reach really, really far back to get it. Sometimes, and if you can't, cross over your right arm, it's hard to get. Then you're like trying to do this, and then gotta, put it back in here. It's a lot easier with two arms, but you get my point. It's just an unnecessary annoyance and kind of a pain in the ass. Ford, just really make the magnet stronger. Other than that, it'd be fine. On the outside again, the side skirt, tires are so wide and the side skirt has like a big opening. On the front of it, it just tends to collect rocks and dirt and things like that, and just gets thrown against the body. Right now I don't have a wrap or expel on my car or anything to protect the paint, so rocks are hitting that, and nothing's really chipped it yet, but I can see if I don't protect the paint soon, something's gonna happen. I don't think there's too much Ford could do about that. Maybe there could have been like a metal or plastic grate that would still let air flow through there, but block the rocks at the same time. The only solution right now is someone made a foam pad that you can put in there for when you're not at the track. I don't really consider that a solution because you have to move it in and out and take it out. It blocks the flow of air going around that section of the car. The car, the car is loud, and so you don't want to really wake up your neighbors if you live in an apartment or whatever, but sometimes you want to start the car in loud mode and so it could sound awesome. Well, there's really no way to properly do that. It always starts in normal. So I wish there was like a way where it would save your settings. Like if I left it in sport mode and turned my car off in sport mode, the valves would stay open. But it's, you know, it's also annoying because I love to drive the car. I barely drive it in normal. I like to drive it in sport most of the time because the valves open up. It's a little bit stiffer, and I like that about the car. So every time I start it, I have to switch it into sport mode or turn the loud exhaust on. And finally, the car really just eats oil for breakfast. Like, you can go on the forums and there's tons of videos about it, and there's a kid back there. And sometimes like, well, when you go to the forums, you can see that it just eats oil, even worse on the track. So some people are saying like every 500 miles, the car will go through a quart of oil. And they'll say as the motor breaks into things, it ends up being gradually less. But that's like a big deal. Mainly because there's been people blowing their engines because they don't really check it all the time. I do a lot of track days and things like that, so I'm used to always looking at the oil because you know it's going to consume some. But the amount that this engine consumes is just off the charts, more than any car that I've ever seen before. So if you don't keep up on it, some people drive their car hard on the street or the track or whatever, and they don't check their engine oil until like 3,000, 6,000 miles, like it says in the service thing, and they're blowing engines. So just, it would be nice if there was a warning that maybe like, hey, your engine oil is like half low or something like that, to where it warns it, because right now it doesn't warn anything until the oil pressure is just gone and you're pretty much blowing your motor at that point. That's really it. Everything for the most part is amazing about this car. I love it. I love driving it, and I just think Ford killed it with the 350R. Next video will be everything that I love about this car, and there are a lot of things to love. So until next time, this is Matt with Motor Feed. Hit the subscribe button, press that like button, or smash that like button, and I'll see you next time.